When it comes to She-Ra, the claws come out. Here's your look at the Mattel Master Universe Masterverse She-Ra, Princess of Power, Catra. The cruel, calculating force captain of the evil horde holds her hatred for She-Ra close to her heart. Using her trademark magic cat mask, Catra is a dangerous nemesis for the Princess of Power. She can shapeshift into a powerful panther, blast freeze fire beams to encase her enemies in ice, or even teleport. Her greatest power, however, is her cat-like cunning. Cross her if you dare. I gotta be careful that this kitty doesn't claw me. Let's first grab the tape measures to see how tall Catra stands, and I'll go ahead and bring in a couple of figures for comparisons. Up to the very top of the head, Catra stands about 6.5 inches in height, or the figure's 16 centimeters tall. Sticking with only She-Ra figures for the comparisons, here's what Catra looks like with the previously looked at, slightly disappointing She-Ra. More disappointing more for the face, and I guess more so for the mouth than anything else. And you can see that they're about the same size, using very similar molds from one to the other. I recognize right away arms being shared the same, and also the lower legs. And of course, you did want to bring in her boss. I wanted to bring in her boss. This is what Catra looks like with her boss, Hordak. And in this case, Hordak is the tallest of the three. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, she doesn't come included with a transformed panther. You'll have to probably buy a panther separately. While she doesn't have the means to transform into a panther, at least she comes with some pretty interesting looking accessories. The first of which we'll have a look at, still sticking with cat themes. She comes included with a cat shield with a big giant stone up above it. The stone itself looking like it's using translucent plastic, while the rest of the shield, meow, is actually looking like it's using silver plastic. This actually is the way it attaches onto the arm. It doesn't have to be necessarily this arm, but I always seem to want to put shields on this side of the figure's body. Simply just slide the shield over top of her arm. Now the thing about it though is the fingers are a little hard with these hands right now to fit inside the other handle. So you can also just fool people. You can phone it in, so to speak, and just have her sort of balancing the shield. Or what you can also do too is swap out the hands. The hands that we're about to have a look at work a little bit better when it comes to holding the shield. Getting the figure to stand. The figure also comes included with a scepter. The scepter, in this case, again, using the same, what looks to be the same plastic as the shield. Although looking at it, it does look like it's a little bit lighter of a silver, doesn't it? On the end there, they've painted in a very emerald type of green stone. And this, again, can be wielded in both her hands. I keep going back to that. She can't really hold anything right now because she has the clawing hands. However, though, you can swap the hands out for a pair of grabbing hands, gripping hands, suitable weapon-holding hands. The neat thing about the hands is that they actually took the time to go in there, paint each of the individual fingernails. Now, actually, even the existing hands, the ones that are stock on the figure's forearms, also have painted nails. I think it's a really nice touch, the fact that they would have done that. Though, to swap the hands out, simply just wiggle the hand and remove the peg from the post. Be careful, though, while doing this. If there's a little bit of resistance, stop what you're doing. Don't keep turning it because you're going to break the peg. Pop then the new hand in. And we'll do it on this side, at least for now. You can go ahead then and take the scepter. And the scepter, very soft plastic, by the way, in the hands. Don't bend the thumb in the process. But with the plastic being softer, it makes things a little bit more easier for her to hold the scepter. Again, you can rinse and repeat that for this side to then have her holding the cat shield. I'll probably do that for final looks. But those are the accessories that come included with Catra. Let's go ahead and take then the scepter and put it to the side. As for the figure itself, one thing that she does have, like in the cartoon, is that she does have a mask that slides over her face. When she slides it down, that's the time that she transforms into a panther. Full disclosure, she doesn't come included with a panther. What you can do, for all intents and purposes, is you can take the mask and slide it down. I got to say, it doesn't ever really work for me. What it is, essentially, is the mask. I'm going to go ahead and just detach it for right now. You'll notice on the sides of her face, that looks painful. On the sides of her face, she has a little cavern, a little track, a little tunnel. That's actually the case on both the sides. So what you're supposed to be really able to do is take the mask and slide it down, because essentially it's going to be sliding down that track. I find it never works, though. So usually if I do want to have her transforming, short of, again, full disclosure, she doesn't come included with a panther. Again, you can either have the head rest up like this, Or again, I just detach it. You really can only detach one of them. You don't have to detach both of them. Slide it down as far as you think you may need it. And then plug it back into place. I don't have it all the way. Bear with me. I don't have it all the way in. There we go. Plugging it back into place, then you have Catra with her mask down. Which you can also do too. Not that this is what you're really supposed to be doing, but you can also flip it around. And you've got yourself sort of a Scarlet Witch. Okay, that's really bad. But for me, at least, when it comes to displaying her, she has too good of a face, I think, to mask it by a mask. So I'd like to have really the headdress more higher up like this. They have gone and painted in the little eyes of the cat mask in green while keeping still the red plastic untouched. It happens to be also a similar type of red, although it seems a little darker here for the collar piece. And then she also has that same similar red that she has for the rest of the body. But the face is really good on this one. This is kind of where I'd like to see She-Ra have gone, just to bring back in She-Ra when we had a look at the review of her. Yeah, like the mouth is really the thing that interrupts a good-looking head sculpt for She-Ra. If not for the mouth, the rest of the head is fine. What we get here for Catra is far better, if you ask me. She doesn't have as much the weak chin, and she has a much more chiseled face. She-Ra looks like she's almost been stung by a bee. Like the face on Catra, a whole lot more. On the back of her head, actually, she has a very long kind of ponytail. It doesn't seem like there's articulation here to it. If anything, it's just the way it's been more assembled than anything else. I wouldn't really want to rotate this back and forth in case I actually do break a peg that's attaching to it. There seems to be like a little bit of blue that they've added for highlights to the hair. In fact, actually, the way that the light's hitting it right now kind of looks like it's got a slight bluish tint to an otherwise shinier black plastic. Again, when you get to the outfit itself, she does have, again, like Hordak loves to put his logo on everything. And Catra, as you can see, also does have the Hordak logo, a Horde logo across her chest. It's nice sculpting there. I'm guessing that the actual logo has been painted a different color. And then this, of course, being the darker kind of cranberry color, being the majority of plastic more than anything else. Lower skirt is on a softer plastic, so it's going to make things a little bit easier when it comes to the articulation on the figure that we'll talk more about in a moment. But coloring's really good on this one. Brighter boots here down below, kind of more of an orangey ketchup red here, outlining the majority of the boots when you've got the darker red on the inside. And that same orange also happens to be, if you remember, the same coloring that they used also for the Horde belt and the Horde logo. As for the figure itself, for her articulation, one thing, actually, just before we talk about the articulation, the figure does have also as well a cape. Why did I have a tough time trying to figure out what that was called? It was cape. It's a cape. One thing, though, is I've got a little plastic tab still left behind. Let's just remove that. That's not going to be bothering anybody anymore. I'm going to flick that away. But she does have a softer, soft goods cape. I like the material that they used here. Similar to the type of material that they would have used for She-Ra. Of course, She-Ra's red, Catra's being purple. Okay, so let's look at the articulation on Catra. Her head is on a ball joint, as with the case with She-Ra before. It does rotate back and forth fine. It's going to be a little bit more limited just because she's got longer hair on the back, but you can have the head looking further down. You can also, again, rock it back and forth as well. Just be careful that you don't bang the mask off because you'd hate to lose that. If you lose that, oh boy, you're going to have these big eyesores on the sides of her head. Don't have that happen. The arms, though, however, do come out at 90 degrees. You can take those arms and rotate them all the way around. And that's the same on both the sides. She has a bicep swivel, yes. The figure does have a double hinge on the elbow. And you can rotate her hands all the way around. Again, I love the idea that they actually went in and painted the nails. What a small touch of detail. I certainly appreciate. Upper torso is on a ball joint. You can rotate it until the cows come home. Legs do split out. And again, because the skirt's a softer plastic, it doesn't seem to get in the way at all for getting a splits on Catra. Take the legs and go forward. Take the legs and go back. She has 3/4 of the way up the thigh, a swivel on the thigh. You may have already noticed it for yourself. I've got these smudges here. One smudge I recognize from the cape. I can't imagine it's just from the cape resting against the plastic. The blue, on the other hand, though, I have no idea how it got there. Probably just a factory error, the way they printed it. It's a shame. It's a shame it had to be a little smudge there. When I turn it to the side, it actually looks like poor Catra's gotten a couple of bruises on the sides of her legs. Figure has a double hinge on the knee. There is articulation in the foot, just the way it more is assembled. And then the figure does have ankle articulation back and forth this way, and ankle rocking back and forth this way as well. And yes, in case you are curious, the figure does have peg holes on the undersides of her feet. I don't honestly think we are going to be getting any more Horde members when it comes to these larger scale figures. I have certainly heard as well rumors that Mattel has lost the licensing when it comes to the Master Universe. So it may very well be near the end of what we're going to be getting for Master Universe figures, tall or small, Origins or what we're getting here from like the Revelation/New Eternia line. I really hope that's not the case, because obviously when it comes to Horde members, all we really have right now is Catra, and we also have ourselves Hordak. I'd like to certainly get more than just that. Here in Final Looks, I've changed 3 things to Catra that wasn't the case when we started this review. Anybody want to guess what that is? If you were to guess scepter and shield in her hands, then you would be correct. I also have dropped down the mask to cover over her eyes. Now, she can't unfortunately transform into a cat because we don't get a cat included with this, and I don't think the likelihood of getting a separately sold Catra Panther, I don't think is ever something that Mattel's going to consider to do. Considering I think we're on fumes here when it comes to this line, the likelihood of them even remolding a Battle Cat to give us a Panther is probably not going to happen. But if you wanted to get at least one step away from her transforming, you can then drop the mask down. I think it's supposed to slide down on that track on either side of her face. It doesn't slide down as much, so I find it's easier, in fact, just to take the mask off, put it further down on her face, and plug it back in. Don't lose the mask, whatever you do. Obviously, it's going to lose one thing, one characteristic trait of Catra, and it's also going to be more of an eyesore, because without the mask, you notice these big indentations, these grooves that run down the side of the figure's face. Oh, it looks horrible. But with the mask obviously on her face, you're never going to see that it's there. For me, I would rather display the mask up myself, but I do like the option that Mattel at least gave available, where instead of giving you 2 swapped out heads, because I think that would be unnecessary plastic, by making at least a mask that could move on her face, on paper at least, I think it's a much better idea, and a better savings of plastic as well. What do you guys think of Catra? Let me know down below in the comments section. Personally, I feel this is a better looking figure than the She-Ra that we got before. It's certainly a better looking face, I can tell you that. But which do you guys like more? The She-Ra that we looked at, or in this case, the Catra? Let me know down below in the comments section. And also as well, if you enjoyed this video, want to hit with a like. If you're loving the content you guys are seeing and do want to certainly stick around for more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and that you're also turning on the bell notification. There's going to be a lot more videos, as you can probably imagine, coming your way. So as always, guys, making sure you're coming back here on a regular basis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.